It's May 18, and I am at the lake after a trip to Taos and Santa Fe, and I just want to share this beautiful little face on the rock that's right in front of me. I see them, as you know, all over the place. Every rock has their story, their beautiful faces and energies. And I've been sitting on this particular rock here by the lake, absorbing the energy of the earth. And I don't know if you can hear, but up there is a musician. Oh, there he is. You might be able to see. So it's been a beautiful backdrop, and along with the construction noises around behind me, to reflect on and share a synthesis of the challenges and questions that I'm writing up for advisors, including lawyers and accountants, who I'm trying to figure out what is the structure for EIC and Thrive Towns going forward, and how to build partnerships such that I'm not continuously feeling overwhelmed with all the people that I haven't connected with, because I don't have a structure or a funding or a sponsor for how to pull it all together into the big picture vision that has been emerging of this last week. So let me summarize what happened last Monday and the week before regarding scope and strategic vision, and then I will lay out what I think the next steps are, and I look forward to corrected insights or other options that could be considered at this juncture. So the bottom line is that the governor, former Governor Sandoval, is president of UNR, and I've been trying to figure out how do I make the case to his level that a Thrive Institute sponsored by UNR would be ideal for both the region down in Reno, Sparks, and the whole northern Nevada, which is the mission of UNR to serve them, and also up here at the lake, which has a new campus and looking for their master plan. So in the conversation, I maybe even had like 5 minutes with him, and I think I conveyed the full scope of what the vision is. And he said, well, up at Tahoe, we're still trying to figure out what the master plan is and the use of that land, and the fact that Duffield owns the corner property still. And so he said, you know, I like your ideas. Let's talk after we have a master plan. And I said, well, could we be part of the master plan? Could the Thrive Town and the idea for the middle school to have a lab school facility on the land of or affiliated with UNR, even if it's not maybe physically on the land? And I mentioned, and he did not know about the middle school situation, and that Washoe County was threatening to close that school. So we left open the possibility for me to follow up, and then at the dinner right afterwards, the table, his person, Austin Daly, who is his government and community relations director, he's a young guy, just started a few weeks ago, and he seemed really interested. So now the challenge will be to document all the possibilities for them to be. Oh, there's a snake. Very interesting. Hope it doesn't climb up on my rock. Let me see if you can see it. I'm sure it's harmless anyway. So I think the master plan update that I'm proposing, or reflecting on options for, is this relationship between EIC and Thrive Towns Inc. was created so that I could have income, go after investors and angel folks to do seed funding for the Thrive World portal. That was the main goal or reason for doing it. And then the second reason was that EIC fundraising from government and grants wasn't going to be really sustainable or very free-flowing, so we were being, held back by the idea of only raising money from the nonprofit and philanthropic sector. And I am now facing the challenge that Thrive Towns is a risk. Well, first of all, neither one has been successfully able to garner the money yet because the master plan hasn't been communicated very effectively. And I have to move Thrive Lab out of Oddie District by June 1. And so I am in this burning need to make the story pitch clear to UNR such that we could get the green light to possibly move the Thrive Lab from Oddie District up to Incline. So with that in mind, here's the possible angle or options I'm considering. One, me focus all my energy as the director of EIC and bring money to the concept that we are doing Thrive Design Clubs with community members. And the money for that comes from the communities themselves and from state money and innovation funding to figure out solutions that reach the marginalized parts of our community, including the homeless, which is what David Spiller, who is president of Rotary of Reno, said is a top priority for them as a service organization, but also for Washoe County in general, is desperate to solve the homeless situation as well as the declining attendance of youth at school and the not improving academic performance. And the health concerns of our young people. So what I'm saying is that EIC needs to 100% focus on the design of a Thrive Town and or Thrive District in which we are, in fact, serving all of those needs. And the only way I can see to do that with any sort of integrity and agility is to build it to purpose on that land. Maybe it's next to the Oddie District, that the property on the parking lot next to it that is owned by Brian Bacani, and Tom Ortez is the builder who I'm going to be talking with this week to scope out what is the scale and size of a structure that we could build there, and then pitch that as the sustainable community hub for serving all ages and all economic capacities and all employers. So it could, if of the right scale, of the right size, this could be something that truly serves the whole region. We don't have to go through a 5-year trial period of a small scale prototype, but we leapfrog direct to the full facility down there. And then in parallel, we have a facility up here that serves a smaller rural community, but it happens to be on a campus of UNR, so that it can be a training ground, as perhaps the one down the urban center demonstration, but the rural center could be a training ground for research and development, for kids to access jobs and career experiences and self-direction and economic opportunity, even in a small rural community that doesn't have all the employers local where they could do interns. So the beauty of the two-pronged planning process is that you can get both the Thrive Institute funding and the for-profit Thrive Towns Inc. or Thrive World. We might change the name on it to be Thrive World, so that the blockchain and the computer science, like Sushil, could be at the helm of this innovation that is in partnership with a for-profit entity that would be fully supported by the University Center for Small Business Development. So we could be in collaboration with the SB, AC, and GoEd for entrepreneurship. Same time, we get money from grants and from tax dollars that goes towards the building of the actual town, the physical facility, and the self-preneur program of project-based learning, and accruing their own credentials in a portfolio. So it would be a parallel development between the Thrive World for-profit and the EIC. Now, here's where I need help. If this vision is to be made manifest, I will need to have arm's length relationship with the Thrive World portal development, the blockchain part of it. I'm thinking, and I'm going to consult with Craig and the other lawyers that might be able to help me discern this, but if I stay a shareholder of Thrive Towns, the for-profit, but I give a lot of distributed ownership of shares to others who are doing the hands-on development work. So my only role, so as to make sure we're not sharing resources between the EIC nonprofit and the for-profit, because if those resources, if it is discerned by the IRS that the nonprofit is giving benefits to the for-profit, such as resource sharing and leadership sharing and other things, then they could take away our nonprofit status. And I do think we should remain as a nonprofit for the purposes of our mission to serve the entire community and to integrate all the different tax streams or grant streams and philanthropic dollars. However, if I can remain, say, a board member and a shareholder, and maybe to make sure that the connection of where that Thrive World portal is going perfectly aligns and mirrors the mission and growth of the Thrive Town network as under the Thrive Institute. And as that goes global, we need to make sure that there's very tight alignment between the development of the platform and the physical facilities where kids are earning their self-preneur credentials. So, given that, I guess if that model seems sustainable to lawyers and accountants, then I will need to find shareholders and CEO and CTIO of that Thrive World portal, such that I can walk away from it as a day-to-day hands-on thing and really focus all my effort on building the community of the design clubs and the resources to those two initial locations, the one in Reno and the one up at Tahoe, and make sure that those two are aligned and sharing resources very well, such as if there's an employer who has a kiosk down at the big Thrive Town district, can also have maybe a miniature version of it up here at the smaller rural Thrive Town. So, and the final thing is whether I think the final question I'm having is, as we're building out this as a lab school academy and starting with the middle school up here, we might down in Reno focus on the high school level so that we have like a sample of what it looks like to do a lab school at the high school level, and possibly, and have that be also feeding the Nevada Fit program, which is what everyone is telling me I need to make sure that I'm making available personal and professional development for success in college, which is the Nevada Fit program. But that only starts once a freshman begins at UNR. What we want to do is begin that process in the high school. So, given that we could do lab schools, I also think there is an opportunity to go after, as Janine Collins said at the Department of Education, go after funding like at the XQ Super School level, such that we can become a sort of a national demonstration site. Also aligning with what Education Reimagined is doing with their network. So we could be kind of a hub for all the best practices of reimagining education. And if those two players could be our research and development arm, I also know that they can bring the money to it. So do I focus like a laser this summer on doing that, getting all those plans and connections made, or do I spend time operating design clubs? And my instinct at this point is it's way too much for me to try to get all of these pieces and partnerships and funding streams and the story of what we're doing told, such that people will come to it like, obviously that makes sense, let's do it, versus me spinning my wheels like trying to get young people to design the local Thrive Town. And so here's my thinking is I might ask a few young people to be my sounding board for the development of the communications and helping with delineating what is a Thrive District and how do we draw pictures about it. And they can help with that communication piece, as opposed to trying to involve the entire community in these sort of the way we did with the first Thrive lab at Incline, where we had the parents and the kids involved weekly in design discussions. It kind of went too slowly in a way. And so our plan will be for the fall to enroll middle school kids from Incline as well as high school kids, maybe from Incline if the principals and the intern woman are open to that, or we might go where the Hug High School and Reno High School could be the prototype for that. But it still begs the question, where am I going to move the Thrive Lab? All right, that's a question to be addressed this week, and I'll need to make the actions happen very, very soon. Also, by the way, last Wednesday, the Generators chairman Jerry Snyder went down to the Bay Area to make a pitch to his funders, who I think are family members, to see if they can afford the entire front space of the generator. And I had mentioned, well, I could maybe make it use more space and make some funding happen for our program as a sustainability makerspace. And he said, well, we've thought about how to get kids involved, and it's been difficult legally and structurally in the facility that they have. But if I had a valid proposal to him about how it can make money and be secure and safe, he'd consider it. So that's the other thing I need to be thinking about, is if I expanded to, say, 2,000 square feet and had rooms for each of the playgrounds, could I make that happen as a kind of a sustainability makerspace model? and a demo of what Thrivetown could be. Worth thinking about. Thanks for listening to this update, and I'll look forward to thoughts and feedback.